Hi, and welcome to the podcast, Help Me, Rhonda. I'm your host, Dr. Rhonda Karg. I'm a clinical psychologist, and each week I'm presenting mental health related topics, including ways that you can improve your mental health, substance abuse, and relationships. And tonight I'm going to be talking about loneliness and ways that you can do a better job dealing with that. So, over the years, I've seen a lot of people coming in for therapy because they feel that they don't have anyone in their life that gets them, or they don't have social support in their life. And as a result of that, they don't feel seen or heard or understood by anyone. And that is distressing enough for them to come into therapy so that they have someone to reason things out with. So, knowing that we are 100% responsible for our feelings and our choices, as you know, this is a consistent theme with my podcast, is that as adults, we are 100% responsible for how we feel. So while you may not be getting validation from other people in your life, the good news is that you can give yourself that validation. And it is actually pretty easy. So I wish that they taught people how to validate feelings in kindergarten and started teaching people this, because it's just so important in relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, family, coworkers. It's just a really good idea to learn how to validate feelings, because if someone does become disturbed and you are able to validate their feelings, a lot of times that will de-escalate the situation. It'll calm them down. So showing the person that they're seen and they're heard and they're understood is a way for someone to feel important and feel worthy and feel like they matter. And when people try to tell them that they shouldn't feel that way, that can make them feel shut down. It can make them feel unimportant, unseen, unheard, misunderstood, and that's a lonely feeling to have. And so when let's say your partner comes to you and says that they're having feelings about maybe something that happened, you may not understand why they're having that feeling, but it's important to let them know that you can see that they're upset. Even if you don't understand, you can see that they're upset, and that concerns you, and that you want to help calm them down. So as it relates to doing this for yourself, you can do the same thing. You can be your own therapist and help yourself feel seen, heard, and understood. So let's say that you have been at your new job for 9 months and you've been working nights and weekends, long hours, long days, and today you got called into your boss's office and were reprimanded for your performance. So you're leaving work and you just feel so defeated and discouraged and afraid. You're afraid for your job now. And you live alone, so there's not anyone that you can talk to when you get home. You're just with your feelings. You don't know what to do. You've got a 45-minute ride home, and you're going to just try to get it together so that you can get home. And so what you can do is validate your feelings by talking to yourself like your best friend would or your therapist would, to say, I know that you've been working so hard. You've been bending over backwards to do a good job at work. And you've been sacrificing your nights and weekends. And when your boss brought you in there and reprimanded you, you probably just felt crushed. So you can talk to yourself that way, and believe it or not, it actually helps because you recognize that, yeah, that's true. That was a really upsetting thing. Of course I'm upset. And can talk to yourself in a way that is going to help you get grounded, going to help you get to the other side of these big feelings. So I call this skill my body double. That's why I'm wearing this iridescent jacket tonight, is because my body double is an exact replica of you. It's a holographic version of you that, kind of like back in the days of Star Wars, you could press a button and this holographic version, let's say 6 feet away, just sort of pops up and can talk to you and say whatever you need to hear. And there's something about it being outside of you that makes it more effective. I'm not really sure why that is, but I've heard a few different people say that that definitely makes a big difference, that when they're just trying to talk to themselves in a regular way, that it doesn't work. But if they think about hearing it from outside of them, for some reason it seems to have a greater impact on them. I'm not sure why. I haven't done any research on this yet. I should also mention that this is just my experience having used it for the last year, but people are finding so much success with it that I wanted to share it with you guys in case it might help you as well. So my body double is really the epitome of being there for yourself. It's a way of showing up for yourself. And we're all so good at bullying ourselves and being hard on ourselves when we make a mistake. So let's flip the script and let's be our own biggest fan, a cheerleader, a fitness coach, a life coach, a therapist, a best friend, a sister, a brother. That source of emotional support whenever, wherever you need it. The good news is that no matter where you go, there you are. I know you've probably heard that saying before, but in this sense, I'm using it in a good way. Wherever you go, there you are. You always have your body double with you. So if you're having a hard day, use your skills to validate your feelings and see what effect that has on you. Be your own biggest fan. So like imagine if that was your day and for 9 months you had been working nights and weekends and had been working so hard to prove yourself at your job, and then you get reprimanded. You would feel so discouraged, I'm guessing, like most people would feel really discouraged. And if they lived alone, they would also be afraid that if they lost their job, that maybe they wouldn't be able to pay their bills. And so this would be a really upsetting thing. But having your feelings validated, being your own biggest fan, saying, I believe in you, you're going to go back to work tomorrow, you're going to hold your chin up high, you haven't done anything wrong. You are doing the best that you can. You are a good teacher, and you're doing a great job. So imagine how you may have a different evening if you could talk to yourself like your own biggest fan and you had someone cheering you on. Wouldn't that be nice? You may not have had this when you were a kid. You may not have had a parent that cared about how you felt. So when you are alone, it may feel overwhelming because maybe you were abandoned when you were a kid. And feeling alone is a real thing that happened to you that was very, very upsetting. Because when you're a little kid and you're alone, you might be in danger. You're going to feel afraid. And sometimes as an adult, we can have that part of us, that little part of us that maybe felt abandoned as a kid, that as an adult, we can feel abandoned again. That little part of us gets triggered, like I've talked about in some of my other podcasts about getting triggered. We can have a little part of us that when we're alone, we feel this overwhelming sense of dread and apprehension. Some people describe it as feeling unlovable and unworthy. We all have the desire to have a sense of belonging. That's a natural, it's in our DNA to have that feeling of belongingness. And if we don't have that, it can be very hard. And that's one of the reasons why loneliness is described as this it feels like a biological thing that happens to them. It feels almost like a heavy weight on them when they feel lonely. And for some people, it is because they were abandoned for other people. It is that maybe they feel overwhelmed with life and they feel like they need someone there to help them. And so that is why I developed my body double, is to help people who don't have social support in their life, maybe don't have a therapist yet, but need help getting things done, need help with motivation, need help with feeling okay, regulating their emotions, dealing with their feelings of being distressed, dealing with that. So try this out. Try out my body double. Let me know in the comments whether you liked it or whether you didn't. I want to hear from you. If you didn't like it, I'd love to hear what happened, what about it didn't work out so well. And if anybody has some suggestions for ways that maybe I could make it better before actually doing a study with it, I would love to hear your thoughts on that, because I'm always trying to get better. So thanks so much for your time, and I appreciate your participation in this podcast.